housekeeping. Where are we? Cush Cafe in Eugene, Oregon. What are we doing?
Looking at the new floor.
Looking at that tight new floor. Yes, we got a regular dance floor in the house tonight. I'm going to insist that someone do an epic Edda ode that we can all do a shuffle boogie to.
Shuffle boogie.
If you don't do it, I will. We're at Carry On At Cush, aren't we? If you step on this stage, you are consenting to be live cast on YouTube for all your friends back home in Dallas, Fort Worth, Miami, Detroit, Baltimore, to watch you do your awesome thing up here. I've got a full list. No more signups. If you pick my mic up off this stand and you break it, you buy it. We had some damage last week to my wonderful SM57 that I've been using for 30 years. I've never seen one broken. That's $90. So if you want to take this off the stand, I hope you've got $90 in your pocket for when you break it. I am serious. You should be using the mic on the stand. That is proper etiquette for this type of microphone. If you don't want to do it, have $90 ready when you break it. I'm sick of losing money here. Can I get an amen? Amen? That's right, break the mic, buy it. Then you're cutting into everyone else's poetry time, and they're going to have to shout. Actually, I got a backup in my bag, but I don't want to tell you that. There's an event on Saturday, and here's how I will preface this. I have written the most awesome new poem I've written in 3 years. I'm not doing it for you tonight. I will be doing the world debut of this awesome new poem Saturday at the Eugene Downtown Public Library as part of Stephen Blue's event, the Stephen Blue Poetry Showcase at the Downtown Public Library. That starts at 1 o'clock. I think the ragtag band of scallywags goes on a little later. You should go check this out. I've been doing it for 3 years. I go through periods of vomit, revulsion, joy, giggles. It's all there for you. It's a panoply. It's like a 4-hour poetry event. And if you can tough that out, you're a real man or woman in the poetry field. Lots to learn there. And you'll get to see my world debut of my new piece, which is called How to Build a Daily Use Poetry Kit. Yeah. I'm not telling you anything else about it. I'm going to freak the shit out of those people at the library. I was practicing it last night, and I was shaking. My cats were running around. They were high as shit. They're like, what the hell has gotten into Daddy? I'm like, the power of poetry, buddy. So I'm not doing a poem tonight. Yeah. All right. So Saturday, it's free. There's snacks, high-end coffee and tea, and you get to bag on all the poets you don't like, just like you do here at Cush. You get to celebrate with the poets you like, just like you do here at Cush. Because your opinion is just like everyone's asshole, right? We all got one. And we're just doing this together. Why? Because it's human. It's essentially human. And everything we do that's human counters the machinery of the corporation, man. That's what I'm talking about. Without further ado, let's roll out the poets. We're starting with a newbie. Eve, you haven't read here.
Not new. I've been here 2 times.
Have you read?
Yes.
Was I here?
No.
Yeah. You might have been here, but as I said before.
No, I haven't seen you there. Therefore, I was concerned. You're a newbie. Get up here, newbie. Like how I did that? Yeah, oh, please use the poetry loading slot so you get to make a dramatic entrance. This is the official poet slot. So that is some technical maze walking. If you can't make it that way, you probably don't need to be on the stage.
I am a rule breaker.
Oh, wow! You almost kicked over my amp and you messed with my sacred glory.
Yeah.
Knock them down. You got 7 minutes.
Awesome.
Let's give it up for Eve.
So, quick announcement from a sober brain.
Wait a minute. Let's have some poetry.
Yeah. This goes with my poetry. Each time I'm here, I read off the top of my head randomly. So what you hear tonight and whenever I get up here will be directly off the top of my head. That being said, if you want to help, substances are always welcome. Anyways, getting to say, the word for tonight that my poetry will be based off is sobriety. So let's get started. I sat in the park one cold afternoon as the sun slowly set upon my face. The cold wind blew through my hair, a wind rustling the leaves in the trees as I looked out on your lonely park with two swings creaking in the wind. I was lonely as I peered, and then I saw her walking fair within the sidewalk on the street of that lonely day that was just about to end. It was amazing at that instant. At that very instant, time slowed down to a pace that I could no longer tell whether it had been 1 second or 25 years as I peered out over that park just watching her, the wind caressing her face, leaves blowing in her hair, fair, brown, golden, one would say. Her eyes lit up, green as green could ever be, greener than any tree I have ever seen. Her skin was fair, like the plaster on my walls. I love my walls. And her clothes, they weren't that well put together, but they matched her perfectly. They gave me an idea of what was inside her head. A mess, but a cute mess. A mess, but an organized mess. As I sat there, the cold wind blew across my face. And then a car passed, and I no longer saw her, no longer saw anybody. I was sitting alone until I faded into the distance.
Poets are always fading off into the distance, right? And there they go. For another century, they'll be forgotten. And then they'll come back in a group like this, and suddenly a revolution is in the air. A revolution of words, which leads to ideas, which leads to communication, which leads to, fuck that, let's go do what we want. Alec, are you a newbie?
Yeah.
All right, a legitimate newbie. Popping his Cush Cafe Poetry Cherry right here for all to see. Are you feeling brave, Alec? Knock 'em dead, speak loud, and go for it.
Hey guys, so
He's got props.
yeah, props. So this is my first time reading, so here we go.
Yeah.
It's called Anyways, the only thing I could say back, that is, once I could get my mouth moving again, I think you're super too. My whole life, though, I have strived to be like Superman. He's the pinnacle of what a good person is. As a child, I would read comics all the time. I still do. What I had learned that no matter how crazy and how horrible this world can get at times, and how much the world tries to corrupt me, I can't become a bad person. Nobody can grow up reading Superman comics and turn out an asshole. This shirt I'm wearing, I wear this shirt as much as I can. You may have noticed that there's something a little abnormal about the S on this shirt. It's reversed. People ask me why, and the truth is it's a Bizarro shirt. But that's not the way I see it. That's not why it's important to me. The way I see it, when I wear this shirt, People may not see me as Superman. I don't fly around. I don't hail from a faraway planet. No, I am human. I am mostly normal. I will try to save the day as Superman would, but I am not powerful. I'm not as gifted. I'm not as talented. That's what others think. The S is backwards so I can look in the mirror. I can proudly say, I am powerful. I am talented.
Fuck yeah.
And perhaps I can save the world. But mainly, I look at myself in the mirror, and looking back is Superman.
Very nice, Alex. There's only one bone I have to pick with that. I read Superman and I always identified with Lex Luthor. I turned out to be an evil dude. Yeah. Yeah, so it is possible. Anything's possible, brother. I might hit a home run over center field after calling it out. Or I might not. But you are super awesome. Moving along. Super duper Superman. And look out for that kryptonite, brothers and sisters. That is some nasty toxic shit. Emily, to the stage. Emily, clean up in aisle 9. Emily, clean up in aisle 9. Clean up that poetry mess. Come on. Yeah. What do you think? I mean, serious? Go.
All right. These are thanks to the poetry workshop last Saturday.
Oh, good.
Thank you very much.
By Stephen Blue.
All
At
right.
the library.
The first one. Leaves falling, slow falling. Painting red and orange on the ground. Boots cause a crinkle in the air. Children jump in the piles. Horses take us to the vines, where we examine pumpkins, finding just the right one. Hot cider simmers with spices on the stove. Faces, scary, silly, and sad, emerge. Seeds bake in the oven. Candy will soon be shared. Happy October.
Yeah.
And now for a few short ones. Resting peacefully, a sound most annoying comes. It's the leaf blower. Over, under, loops, length. I taught myself to crochet. Now I'm addicted. And lastly, in honor of a little something special. Click, clack, feet shuffle. Wood glistens bright and shiny. A nice new dance floor.
The floor, the very base of the dance. Well, now we have an uncomfortable situation here. I would like to pull out onto the stage because we never hide anything at Cush. If you have a problem, let's remind ourselves of this. If you have a problem with anyone or anything, come to me and we'll have a powwow with that person. There should be no subterfuge, backbiting, jealousy, anything other than support for each other in our quest to be awesome. However, I'm now going to call Jeremy out for signing up as number 4 and chickening out. We love Jeremy's work, don't we? Jeremy does not think his work is up to snuff at the last minute. What do we say to that? We say, take the risk, brother. If you fail, we will love you more because you tried. And that's how you do that.
That's what you get for knowing people too well. They don't let you get away with shit. If you know people well, you're going to get embarrassed. Better than hiding in a cave all year. Hey.
Oh, man.
All right. It has a couple weeks, but it's going to get fixed. All right. So speaking of which, here it is. Didn't mean to find it. Actually took a wrong turn, or a right one, down a side street. A steel bridge with a train roars by just overhead. Veering right and opening to a wide space. They would even have Christmas lights in the daytime. quiet animation, and rising high behind them, a glue factory. Humming tall with machinery, little shoots here and there, spiring a faint smoke of some kind. Seemed perfect until then. Dang, thought we found it, the spot. Why can't everyone, when we're born, just get our own piece of land somewhere?
That's right.
Why not? The guy walking by, we asked, hey, how much is it to get a space here? Oh, it's $300 a month. Oh, that's not bad. Well, it's like a little hideaway in the city. Oh, that's kind of true. My name is Kevin Crockett. Like the old adventurous Davy Crockett? That's me, 13 generations later. Really? Yep, that's my bloodline. Well, good to meet you. Yeah, I've been looking for a spot. What's it take to get in here? Well, as long as you're not doing crystal meth, you're probably... What do you think, Seth? I like it. I mean, it's nice. It's not bad. Yeah, right by the river, says Crockett. Winds come through pretty good sometimes. Other than that, the factory across the river, though the daily hum of the factory, it quiets down at night. A few days later, sitting down, signing papers. This place used to be running with shady folks, says Crockett. But I got in here, kicked out those people real quick. What kind of folks? There was a guy here dealing stuff. One time I got out my gun, even fired a couple shots in the air to scare him off. Now nobody with ill intent comes around here anymore. Really? I mean, is firing a gun legal here? Well, when you call the cops and they don't come for 2 hours, then it's legal. Right. Putting out a cigarette, Crockett says, just got to worry about the possums and raccoons because they like it by the water. If you leave your door open too long, they might just say hi. A few days later, inside the used trailer, got for a pretty good deal. Door open just a crack to let the rain air in. Reclining on the swivel chair that came with it. Can see through the window, facing the river, lights in the night dancing on the water, lights from the factory that doesn't stop. Kitty on the bed lifts her head, the steel river blowing its horn, coming closer, and thundering wheels along the tracks till it fades away. Always coming and going. The spot of two rivers. We'll get used to it, huh, Bella Cat? Little spell, huh? Everything has changed, I know. Always changing. One day we'll just have to get a boat, jump in the river, see where it goes. All right, kid. Unfortunately.
Now you don't have to regret your fear all week, Jeremy. Well, no, you must not, but I will heckle you until you do. Or you get so downhearted you just have to split, man, and go to the other poetry reading that's going on down the street in Eugene, Oregon. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Jeremy always messes with my mic. Stand. Thank you, Jeremy. No regrets. Living large. On point. Upriver. Next, Sean, who I've rechristened Byron Keats Shelley Poe. Because he uses all those wherefore art thou.
I must live up to, man.
I know. And he says he's got something completely different. And now I got to do this with the mic stand because this dude's tall. I mean, I thought I was tall. Look at that dude. You know, how tall are you, Sean?
Uselessly.
1'6'4"? 6'5"? Jeez, that's my brother's 6'4", and he's a monster. 6'8" at one point. What did they do? Chop off his feet? Oh, okay, that's horrible, man. I'm sorry to bummer you out at the beginning of your reading, man. I'm sorry.
Sean!
That's why you're Lex Luthor, right?
Yes.
No, just going to say at the beginning, this piece is kind of a work in progress and kind of inspired by James Otter.
Woo!
Oh, James has got another dedication.
Look out.
This vague and all too objectionable noise climbs up through the air, through the bowels of this supersensual highway of cables, by the force of modern geometry, while cautious chords snake their perfect path towards the dimly lit awareness of a backlit screen. An endless cascading metropolis of hazardous visual melodies mimic the actions of electromagnetism in every possible chance. Together in tango, retrieving the passion of expression from the hardwired rationality of predicted ends and preordained pathways. Everything is ordered, everything deceives. The clean carpet, the bargain wood finish and wax covering of synthetic modern upholstery, the affecting silence of those engrossed in this, our digital religion, ritualizing a new practice, a new worship through clicks and gestures, through orchestral mechanics and micro-incantations, through the cybernetic reincarnation of art and music, science and topography, through spontaneous generators, the gods of fantasia, the magic of ones and zeros, a complete reduction ad absurdum, the striving of the will toward the smallest force. And yet here it stands, now embossed with the stamp of an age obsessed with plebeian paltry, sensual evidence. Next piece is called Veranda, Veranda. There are rooms filled with clamoring voices. There are rooms filled with laughter and memorial. There are times when the blooming dance of love is so tender upon the naked body of life that we drown inside the womb of bliss and lose the self amidst the surge of a single beating heart. Such a wonderful submission. A gentle rose that passes through the withered state of winter, the gentle hills of spring. A veil lifted that once removed fills every hall of sadness with such amazing, pointless laughter. If you listen now and then among the quiet places that you travel, you may hear its sensuality, its timid playfulness. You may hear a symphony so incomprehensible and yet as intrinsic to yourself as any you had written. The ringing triumph of the spirit is laughing gently in these moments. There are rooms where every man is caught fondling the traceless, fleeting candles lit for his pleasure and his pain. Whole shrines inflamed to illuminate a silly aberration, a silly fleeting form. And as flame must one moment cast its knowing spark upon us, and in the next bring upon us the purity of pain, of destruction and decay, so must these rooms exist with men who fill them with their vigilance and pride, who rise and fall, live and die, procuring from life neither the same tranquility nor the freeing savagery of sensual abandonment. There are rooms of wood only held together by our thoughts. In such rooms there are to be found those carpenters whose skill is unsurpassed and brazen, whose glory in the mind is by no measure able to be bested. They who erect great towers, of which at the center find their dungeon prized and comforting. And so, in every frenzied lunge away from desperation and at the very peak of madness, there arises from the froth of fear and hopelessness a pale glow of dawning light. In every realm of tragedy, there is at some moment, unobserved or passed by, the affirmation that sorrow and love might not be estranged, but instead siblings, or then again lovers. That perhaps, in truth, there is at the heart of every abyss a secret so powerful, so beautiful, that one must be careful to only whisper it on the wind. There is room enough for all.
Yeah!
One more cliche. Called Scattered Stones. Oftentimes our insanities are fed upon forgetting, other times because we can't. Perhaps the dead anchor us to the permanent, teach us through the shudder of quickening vibrations between metal and the flesh of stone. I visited my brother's grave and sat with him a long time, not knowing which of us should speak. I asked too much and always will. I think because he is still the wiser, patient, able to give something of himself even in the silence. I listen, sifting through the sound of field mice thrashing, a death perhaps, though different, unwilling. The wind rages at the immovable, at the foolish way men must learn. Makes sense.
Pause now from a brief editorial from Kit. We are at that point of the evening when I feel it, and we are down into the meaty center of the reading tonight. Do you feel it too? We're down in there in the trenches now, getting out there. Yeah, I feel it, sister, that's right. I want to comment here that you are all tremendous, because you get up here and you spill your guts or your thoughts or your rambles. It doesn't matter. You are all so individual and so unique. As I've explained before, probably listened to 5,000 poets in my time, and every one of them who was worth their salt was unique. That's the fun. So when learning from others here, one should not say, well, I'm not as good as so-and-so, or I'm definitely better than them. One should say, I am here on my poetry journey, And that's my poetry journey. Some are in different parts of their poetry journey. And you're all just fine. So keep the diversity, keep pushing your limits. I have never said don't do anything on this stage that involves some form of poetry. Cook an omelet and make it poetic and you can do it, right? I'll bring in the camp stove. Editorial finish, Stephen Blue to the stage. Clean up on aisle 12. We've got some mayonnaise on aisle 12. Stephen, get the mop. Hold on, I got to retrieve my data device. What are you going to do for us tonight, Stephen, while I get this hair off of there that's been bugging me?
I'm gonna do my poetry journey. Isn't that what you just said?
Poetry journey? Yes, do it.
On my poetry journey, let's see. Last time I did this, a bunch of you played drums, and tonight I just want to read it. So, last seen signals. I fight for what is not left. I fight for what went long ago. The smiling faces, flowers, long hair, and bell bottoms of you. Now only a faded view, left forgotten in the memories of new wars, new scores, new reasons to be afraid. By the many, the masses, the no longer aware how it could have been had we just not given in.
That's right.
To the many numbered royalties, the commercialism cash cow, the callous concern of corporate bottom lining, until we're all scared for our jobs. No longer able to see the possibility that was at our fingertips. If only we could have held on a little longer, persevered a little stronger, not been in such a drug-induced haze. Oh, the ways of the world, the wonder now gone, replaced by hunger, the mad plans of melancholy, mentioned in passing, the last seen signals of the 60s. Do you remember when peace, love, and brotherhood were the current topics of discourse? Probably not, because you're all pretty young. Do you remember when government regulation was strong enough that air pollution standards created cleaner air and the big banks in Wall Street operated with public scrutiny? Do you remember when aerosol cans started disappearing from store shelves, replaced by pump sprays? Do you remember why? Do you remember truth in advertising? Do you remember the fairness doctrine, when opposing political views had equal airtime by law? Do you remember when telephone companies, public utilities, television, media, airlines, health insurance, and banks were not mega monopoly corporations, and monopolies were broken up by our government? Do you remember when the Supreme Court was fair and balanced, and politicians of opposing parties actually worked together? Do you remember when big money didn't buy up all of government? Do you remember when public education was important, reliable, affordable, and funded? Do you remember when teachers, firemen, and police officers were important jobs with public support for fair wages and benefits? Do you remember when the average American family could afford a house, a car, and a college education for their children? Do you remember make love, not war? The 1960s was a paradigm shift, at least, a brief moment of truth, a glimpse of the golden age, the future that could be if peace, love, and brotherhood really reigned in the world. In the 60s, we saw that the evolution of the human spirit was possible. We saw that living in harmony with our fellow man and Mother Nature was doable. But when you look around now, it appears like we have forgotten all of that. I fight for what is not left. I fight for what went long ago. The smiling faces, flowers, long hair, and bell bottoms of you. Much of my poetry rhymes. That's just the way it pours out of me. Here's an example. Love's prose. From out of the blue you appeared. I saw you from across the room. My eyes were fixed like magnet. A breeze drew me to your perfume. You strolled towards me with purpose. Your smile lit up the whole place. You seemed to see me the way I saw you. It was written all over your face. Come to me, my blooming rose. Carry me away, I propose. Sing me your beauty in soft-spoken words. Teach me the way of love's prose. Out of thin air we created love that was destined to be. It happened so quick in a time freeze. Waves of love crashed on the sea. I brought you out of slow yearning to heighten the flames of desire. You lit me so hot, I burned on the spot, and nothing could put out the fire. Come to me, my blooming rose. Carry me away, I propose. Sing me your beauty in soft-spoken words. Teach me the way of love's prose.
I must answer the 60s hippie shit with a Gen X statement. Nancy Reagan and AIDS. Nancy Reagan and AIDS. I'm back on that seesaw. You got sex, drugs, and poetry. We got Nancy Reagan and AIDS. Fuck me. Are you serious? And you wonder why Kurt Cobain did what he did. Yeah, right? That's right. Too soon. Shit, kid's been dead 20 years. Courtney's still fine, though. Manifest Destiny. MD, come on up. Manifest Destiny in the house. If you're not here, I will move on and do one of my own. I would love to do one of my own. Going once, Manifest Destiny. Going twice, I'm getting close, Manifest Destiny. Manifest Destiny is out. Kit is in. Snooze, you lose. This is one of my poetry experiences. It's called Lark's Tongue. And goes like this. Even at the impulse of the lark's tongue to sing, I am awake, alert, abstaining from any sound, myself the very rigid form of listening. I shake it off, dream, become real, and become deeper dream, outright lost. I am a statue, fording flame, fording rivers of weeping. I trick myself to listen harder. The lark disappears and my own throat is thrown open to sing, to lament. If toothless, still myself disassembled again, lost, profoundly myself, and lost again. I am an opportunist poem of the old school. I will stab you in the back and cut your throat to take your spot. Andrew, to the stage, please. Clean up in the beer department. I had to get some intoxicant there for Andrew because he's always talking about it.
There's got to be an intoxicant.
Got to be. I wonder what will we go on tonight?
How's everybody doing?
Awesome.
Yeah. So technically, this poem's like a poem based on a thought about a poem. I'll just give you a little background really quick. So I'm on the bus. I'm on my way home, and I wrote this poem that I had on paper. And I give it to a buddy of mine to read. And I've scribbled this down on some notebook paper based on my thoughts about him reading the poem that I gave him. So, will you pick up my heart? And will he or she or they pick up my heart because I poured out my heart into that? And it is laying on the ground, throbbing to pulsing rhythms of life, versing and reversing. We're rehearsing through till to them in a hearse brings our bodies to loved ones watching inanimate bodies. Where went the animation? It went out blessing the new creation, and what grew from it was nations, piercing oceans with black tar blocking ears from new vibrations. Hear them! Hear them! Hear them emerging from my beating, throbbing heart, laying on the floor. I beat to it. It does not beat to me, and I beat for it to hear what it is saying, and I am beating to the beat of your heart, and you are beating to the beat of my heart, and sometimes we beat to the beat of others' hearts, but that's okay, because hearts aren't monogamous. They don't have limits.